the fuel pump at the petrol station, a small trader measuring grain using the gorogoro, the pharmaceutical firm filling capsules. All rely on measurement systems that must be trusted. And with the African Continental Free Trade Area now in motion, metrology is even more critical. Standards and measurement will determine which goods cross the borders with ease and which ones are rejected. At the Kenya Bureau of Standards, we have continued to modernize our National Metrology Institute, enhance our calibration laboratories, and pursue international recognition of our calibration and measurement capabilities, which we refer to as CMCs. These efforts strengthen Kenya's position as a regional hub for quality infrastructure and promote economic integration across East Africa and beyond. So, ladies and gentlemen, a nation built on culture of precision is a nation destined for posterity. Metrology is not just about tools and technology, it is the mindset of precision. A national culture that says, kiasi tu, niweke tu kiasi, or tells you, ni saa mbili ama saa tatu hivi, reflects a dangerous tolerance for guesswork. But when lives, livelihoods, and reputations are on the line, almost light is simply not good enough. We break free from the comfort of approximation and build a culture where accuracy is standard. Because in today's world, precision is not luxury, it is a necessity for progress, trust, and prosperity. As we celebrate the World Metrology Day, we call on all sectors, public and private, to uphold integrity of measurement. Let us equip our institutions, train our professionals, and invest in our systems. When we measure right, we grow right, and when we grow right, we unlock the full potential of our people, our industries, and our nation. Let us invest in calibration, let us strengthen enforcement, and let us demand precision. Because only then can we build trust, protect consumers, and power Kenya's transformation. Thank you very much, and a happy Metrology Day to all of us.
Thank you, MD. Even as we celebrate World Metrology Day, I hope that the conversation and the content that is being shared by our esteemed guests shall be used in our daily conversation. Let me give you an example. So initially, I thought it was normal that if you go to Hospital A, you weigh yourself. Today, this is not my actual weight. So you weigh yourself and you're 81 kgs. You go to, for example, that's not my weight, but you go to another hospital the following day, you weigh yourself, you're 83 kgs. You're like, maybe ile chapati ya jana nilikula sana. The same day in the afternoon, you go weigh yourself in the house, you're 81. And that means that the equipment is not calibrated. So, Madam MD, we hear you when you say that Sambili, Satatu, thereabout, that as Kenya Bureau of Standards, the standards therein shall be about precision and accuracy. Before I welcome the next guest on weights and measures, I'd like to tell you an interesting fact, that weights and measures were sacred. That in ancient Mesopotamia, for those history people, you would remember this, and in Egypt, measurement standards were often kept in temples. Priests were the guardians of fairness in trade, making metrology a moral and religious duty. So, Kebs, you could just be the temple of modern history. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our next speaker, Mr. Joseph Njarama, who's representing the Director, Weights and Measures. Karibu sana. Karibu, Joseph. Mr. Joseph.
the chief guest, Dr. Juma Mkwana, the chairman, National Standards Council, Dr. Chris Wamalo, the managing director, KEBS, Ms. Estangari, distinguished guests, members of the fourth estate, fellow metrologists, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Joseph Jaramba, representing the Director of Weights and Measures, Mr. John Wamwana, and welcome to this World Metrology Day. It is indeed a memorable day today. Thank you. It is indeed a memorable day today as we come together to celebrate World Metrology Day, a special occasion that highlights the importance of measurements in our daily lives and in the progress of society. This year, World Metrology Day marks the 150th anniversary of the signing of the Metre Convention on the 20th of May, 1875, a historic agreement where nations came together to create a single, reliable, and universal system of measurements. This cooperation made it possible for people across the world to speak the same language when it comes to measurements. This year's celebration also marks the 70th anniversary of the International Organization of Legal Metrology, OIML, an intergovernmental treaty organization established in 1955 to promote the global harmonization of legal metrology procedures. The theme of this year's World Metrology Day is measurement for all times, for all people. This theme is not just a slogan. It is a powerful reminder that measurements are universal, timeless, and essential. Whether it's a jeweler measuring precious metals, a patient relying on an accurate dose of medicine, or a researcher determining mixture ratios, a farmer weighing his produce, or a consumer buying a liter of petrol, measurement is central to fairness, safety, and trust. Measurements are key in gauging the past endeavors, processing the present, and forecasting the future. Economies progress by learning from the past, understanding the present, and planning for the future, and this process is largely buttressed by measurements. Legal metrology, the regulated science of measurements, ensures that measurements are accurate and reliable. Instruments used in trade, health, and safety are type approved and regularly verified. Consumers are protected from fraudulent measurement transactions, and businesses operate on a level playing field. It is where it's where science meets justice. When we say it's for all people, legal metrology empowers people by ensuring they get what they pay for, regardless of their background, location, or literacy. Measurements must serve everyone without discrimination. The urban consumer at a supermarket, the rural vendor using weighing scales, the car owner paying for fuel at a petrol station, all of them deserve fair, accurate, and trustworthy measurements. When we say measurements for all times, accuracy and fairness must remain constant, even as technology changes rapidly. The need for accurate measurements is not bound by time. From ancient civilizations to the modern digital economy, measurements have always been essential. As we move into an age of smart devices, artificial intelligence, and automation, legal metrology continues to evolve. People are always entitled to just measurements, irrespective of the technology employed. Measurement must continually adapt to technological advancement, including digital transactions and e-commerce, Internet of Things enabled measurement systems, and new global trade standards. Measurement is more than a technical tool. It is a symbol of justice, transparency, and equality. Unfortunately, metrology is one field of science that is least understood by the society. The purpose of this day is to recognize the importance of metrology for economic growth and sustainable development, as well as to encourage young people to consider metrology as a career. Together, let's build a world where every kilogram, every liter, every meter, every kilowatt hour counts equally and for everyone. Thank you all. Happy World Metrology Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph Njarama. Distinguished chief guest, Dr. Juma Muhwana, we shall continue giving our guests snippets of how we came about accuracy in measurements. So I'll tell you another interesting fact, and I'll tell you about length. So the earliest recorded standard length measurement, the cubit, appeared in ancient Egypt around 2750 BC. It was based on the length of Pharaoh's forearm. So the forearm is from here to here, and that was the standard cubit. And I'm told once the Pharaoh died, they'd have to measure again the new Pharaoh's forearm. The meter was introduced in the late 18th century and was initially defined as the 10 millionth of the distance from the equator to the North Pole. But let me tell you something interesting. So Egypt seemed to have documented its history. But I'll tell you, in the traditional African society, they would not document, but they would tell their history from word to mouth. I remember deep in the heart of Elgeyo Marakwet, there's a market there. It used to be called Sokomjinga. But the villagers refused and said, we cannot call our market Sokomjinga. For those, let me loosely translate to as the foolish market. So the villagers called themselves to a meeting and called it a new name, Sokomwerevu. And Sokomwerevu was known in the Rift Valley as one of the few markets that was doing barter trade. So barter trade would involve you have your maize harvested, I have my sorghum, and I bring it. And you would trust me that this sorghum would be equivalent to the maize that I gave you. So I'm sure that even within our communities back home, that they were trying to do accuracy and measurements. So now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome our next speaker, Dr. Joel Ongoto. He's the Deputy Secretary General and CEO, Kenya National Commission for UNESCO. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much for the welcome. Our chief guest, the PS, Dr. Juma Muhwana, whom we worked with in the Ministry of Education when he was CEO of the National Qualification Authority. Thank you, sir. The Chairman of the National Standards Council, Dr. Chris Wamalwa. ARSO Secretary General, ARSO, Dr. Emojin Zengimana. Don't know whether my colleague from the UNESCO Regional Office is around. If he's not around, to represent the director. The CEO and MD of the Kenya Bureau of Standards, Madam Estangari. Thank you for this welcome. I start with the CEO of the National Commission for Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. David Ngigi, council members of the Kenya Bureau of Standards, all the CEOs here, staff from the CAPS, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to represent our CEO and Secretary General, Dr. James Njogu, who could have really wished to join you, Madam Esther, for this meeting and a great day, Metrology Day, but he was engaged in another activity. So he requested me to come and read his 5 minutes remarks. But allow me, before I read the remarks, to say that we work very closely with the Kenya Bureau of Standards. CAPS is our certification body. We are certified under the Quality Management System, QMS, for many years now. We've been trying to also get certified under the ISMS standard. But then again, the standard was changed, and we went back to the drawing board, but very soon, Madam CEO will be coming to you. And we always come to CAPS for through your National Quality Institute, NQI, for various trainings that we conduct within the Commission for the 2 standards that we want to be certified under, and could be very soon we'll come for another standard. So this is not the first time we are interacting with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to read these short remarks. I know time is not on our side. Our chief guest, the CEO says here that it gives me great pleasure to give these remarks during this World Metrology Day, which marks also the 150th anniversary of the Metre Convention, which is a landmark agreement that laid the foundation for a global system of measurement. Ladies and gentlemen, some of the speakers here have said that UNESCO designated this day. This is not the only day that UNESCO has designated globally. There are many, many, many of them across the 5 programs of UNESCO. Could be some of you may know about the World Literacy Day, the World Oceans Day, the World Biosphere. There are many. The World Sports Day, a day for physical education and sport, and on, the World Peace Day, and all these are days that we celebrate. Why do we celebrate these days? We celebrate them to bring this to the limelight of the media, stakeholders, to know that these issues are very important to humanity. As we gather here to celebrate this day, ladies and gentlemen, let me pause for a moment, not just to look forward, but also to look back with nostalgia for what we've been able to achieve. Because this day was designated in the last UNESCO General Conference in Paris, which was held in 2023, and this is really good for a UNESCO member state. UNESCO member state number 73. Kenya is a UNESCO member state number 73. We joined UNESCO in 1964, and since then, it's over 60 years now since we joined UNESCO. But I'm glad this is 150 years since when this day was mapped. For those who are not conversant with the Commission for UNESCO, we are state corporation in the Ministry of Education, and that is how we were able to work with the chief guest previously in his other engagement within the ministry. Ladies and gentlemen, just a minute. My goodness, this machine is misbehaving. The speakers just allow me just to change gadgets, so then I don't. So I was saying that for those of you who are not conversant with the Kenya National Commission for UNESCO, we are state corporation in the Ministry of Education, and we are established through an Act of Parliament, the Kenya National Commission for UNESCO Act, number 5 of 2013, and our mandate is to promote Kenya's national interests in UNESCO and UNESCO's international interests in Kenya, regionally and globally, through the 5 programs of UNESCO, that is education, the natural sciences,